A researcher spent 6 years secretly filming newlywed couples in a small apartment he called the Love Lab. Cameras on the walls, microphones on their collars, sensors reading their heart rates while they did something as boring as making breakfast. 6 years later, he went back and checked who was still together and who wasn't. And here's the unsettling part. He could predict divorce with over 90% accuracy, just by watching how couples responded to a single, tiny moment. Not the big fights, not the anniversaries. A moment that happens about 100 times a day and takes less than 5 seconds. Most relationship advice tells you to plan the perfect date night, buy the right gift, say, "I love you" more. That's not wrong. But it's not what the data points to as the real lever. Today, I'm going to show you the one habit, backed by decades of research out of the University of Washington and UC Santa Barbara, that couples who thrive do almost without thinking, and couples who drift apart almost never do. It takes under 30 seconds. You can start tonight. Stick around because I'll show you exactly what it sounds like, word for word. When people think about what makes relationships happy, they think about the highlight reel, vacations, anniversaries, the big "I'm sorry" after a blowout fight. But psychologist John Gottman, the researcher behind that Love Lab, found something counterintuitive. The health of a relationship isn't decided in the big moments. It's decided in what he called bids for connection. A bid is your partner saying, "Look at this weird cloud." It's them sighing loudly at their laptop. It's, "Ugh, my boss again." It's them turning the volume up on a song they love. None of these are requests exactly. They're tiny, low-stakes invitations that say, "Notice me for a second." Gottman found that couples throw out these bids constantly, often over 100 times a day. And what predicted whether a couple stayed happily together 6 years later wasn't how often they fought. It was how often they turned toward these bids instead of turning away, or worse, turning against them. Couples he nicknamed the Masters, the ones who stayed happy, turned toward each other's bids about 86% of the time. Couples he nicknamed the Disasters, the ones who drifted into unhappiness or divorce, turned toward each other only 33% of the time. That's the whole difference. Not passion, not compatibility. Attention, in small doses, applied consistently. Here's where it gets more specific and more useful. Because pay attention to your partner is a nice idea, but it's too vague to actually practice. So let's narrow it down to the exact moment that matters most. A psychologist named Shelly Gable at UC Santa Barbara ran a study asking a deceptively simple question. Does it matter more how your partner supports you when something goes wrong? Or how they respond when something goes right? Almost everyone assumes it's the first one. We're taught that showing up during hard times is what love is made of. Gable's data said otherwise. How a partner responded to good news, a promotion, a small win, even something as minor as "I finally beat my puzzle time," predicted relationship satisfaction and breakup rates better than how they responded to bad news. Gable mapped out 4 ways people typically respond when their partner shares good news: passive, destructive, barely acknowledging it. Your partner says, "I got the promotion," and you say, "Cool, what's for dinner?" Active, destructive, pointing out the downside. That's great, but doesn't that mean longer hours? Passive, constructive, a flat, low energy, "That's nice, honey," without asking a single follow-up. And then the one that actually moves the needle. Active, constructive, responding. Genuine enthusiasm. Eye contact. Follow-up questions. Making the moment bigger, not smaller. That's the habit. Not date night. Not saying "I love you" more. It's this. When your partner shares something good, however small, you stop, turn toward them, and make it bigger with them, out loud, for about 20 seconds. Let's make this concrete, because this is where most people nod along and then forget it by tomorrow. Your partner walks in and says, "I finally got the client to sign the contract." Here's the passive version, the one most of us default to when we're tired or distracted. "Oh, nice. Eyes still on phone." Here's active, constructive responding. "Wait, seriously? That's the one you've been stressed about for 3 weeks. Tell me everything. What did they say? Are you relieved?" Notice what's happening. You're not just approving, you're asking them to relive it. You're extending the moment instead of closing it. Gable's research found that couples who did this consistently didn't just feel closer in the moment. They reported significantly higher relationship satisfaction over time and were less likely to break up. And here's the mechanism researchers point to. This isn't really about good news at all. It's a rehearsal. If you're in the habit of turning toward your partner and making space for them in the easy, low-stakes moments, the good news, the small comment about their day, that same instinct is what shows up when things get hard. Couples don't build trust in the crisis. They build it in the 100 tiny bids that happen before the crisis ever comes. So how do you actually make this a habit instead of a one-time nice moment? 3 things. 1. Lower your bar for what counts as news. You don't need a promotion. "I found a good parking spot" counts. "This song is so good" counts. If you wait for big news to practice this, you'll get maybe 3 reps a year. Practice on the small stuff, and it becomes automatic. 2. Put your body into it, not just your words. Turn your torso toward them. Put the phone down. Make eye contact for the first few seconds. Gottman's research found that the physical act of turning towards someone, literally orienting your body, registers as connection even before you say anything. 3. Ask one follow-up question. This is the part almost everyone skips. Not just, "That's great," but, "How did that feel? What happened next? Did you expect that?" The follow-up question is what separates passive acknowledgement from active engagement. It tells your partner, "I don't just approve of this. I want to be inside this moment with you." That's it. Stop what you're doing. Turn toward them. Ask one real question. 20 seconds, maybe 30. That's the entire habit. Here's what I want you to do. In the next 24 hours, your partner is going to share something with you. A small win, a funny thing that happened, an idea they're excited about. It might feel completely unremarkable. That's exactly the moment to practice. Stop. Turn toward them. Ask one follow-up question like you actually want to know the answer, because you do. That's the habit couples who thrive don't even think about anymore. It's not a grand romantic gesture. It's not a 5-year plan or a couple's retreat. It's noticing the 100 small bids your partner sends out every single day and choosing, again and again, to turn toward them instead of away. The couples in that love lab weren't smarter or luckier or more compatible. They just turned toward each other more often than they turned away. That's a habit, which means it's learnable, starting with the very next thing your partner says to you. If this was useful, subscribe. I'm breaking down one science-backed relationship habit like this every week. No fluff. Just what the research actually says works. And tell me in the comments, what's one small bid your partner sends you that you want to start turning toward? I'll read through them. Remember, connect with yourself and the people who matter. Reflect on your thoughts, choices, relationships, and experiences. Repeat the process until growth becomes a way of life.